Troutman in the car on the phone with him.
I missed that email.
Did you?
Portable he just sent something to me. I was like, I missed. Okay.
You got fired. All right. Sure.
Thank you.
He's like, you need to find a bar in my house.
What part of Richmond are they in?
Chester. I can't remember. I don't know if he really even told me what bar specifically.
Working in downtown Richmond.
No, I think his office is down here.
They found a place this weekend, right?
They did find a place.
Good for them.
He said we were.
Cut my finger while I was cutting cheese. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Yeah, so I was like trying not to use it, which slowed me down on type.
It's the year, yeah. What year though?
Cheese. Yeah, I was just an idiot. James was like, what are you, an idiot?
I spoke with Mary Beth today. Yeah. There's all sorts of flats.
I'd like to call the January 2020 Poquoson City School Board meeting to order. And first up is Pledge to the Flag and Inspirational Reader. Jamie.
Sam Baliga is a junior at Poquoson High School. He is an honor roll student who was a member of the Key Club, International Club, Model United Nations, and was on the wrestling team. Sam volunteers at his church and works as a bagger at the Langley Commissary. After graduation, he wants to major in architecture at Virginia Tech.
May you all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gaston Shepard is our inspirational reader tonight. He is also a junior at Poquoson High School. He is an honor roll student involved with Key Club. He runs winter track, spring track, and cross country. Gaston volunteers in orthopedics at Riverside Hospital and for the Poquoson Seafood Festival. He plans to major in psychology at VCU or UVA.
Kindness can hold different meanings for people. A simple smile or holding the door for someone can impact someone's day tremendously. Even the brightest touch of kindness can lighten a heavy heart. The word kindness echoes the presence of compassionate goodness. When someone is kind, you feel understood and noticed. Acts of kindness are accompanied by emotional warmth, which in turn makes you happier and satisfied. Kindness benefits both the giver and the receiver. Research suggests that any act of kindness, no matter how big or small, eases anxiety, helps you live longer, and prevents illness. With all the benefits that kindness offers, we should continue to promote kindness every day.
Thank you. Next is student presentations. And students, if y'all could wait around just a little while after your presentation, we're going to take a brief interview and speak with you. In response to increasing interest in careers associated with criminology, Poquoson High School was fortunate to offer courses in both criminal justice and forensic science for the first time this school year. Through these courses, students explore the legalities, principles, techniques, and practices associated with careers in these areas. Real-world opportunities offered in these courses are directly in line with the profile of a graduate and help foster skills in the areas of the 5 C's: communication, collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, and citizenship. Students from Mr. St. John's Criminal Justice class and Ms. Yarborough's Forensic Science class are excited to share their experiences this evening. Students participating are Tiffany Gear, Hayden Bowman, Lena Kaysen, and Casey Avery.
Good evening, school board members and Dr. Parrish. I'm Haley Bowman, a senior at Poquoson High School. Joined with me are Tiffany Gear and Casey Avery, who are both also seniors, and Lena Kaysen is a junior. While Tiffany and I are enrolled in both classes, us two will be focusing first on forensic science, which I have the clicker. Which was the... All right, there we go. Sorry about that. Forensic science is the use of science in the matters of law. In other words, taking what we find on the scene, establishing facts in the case, and using it to seek justice. So we start off with the basics, what forensic science means, and the types of evidence we can use, as well as how to process a crime scene, how to search one, and how to connect suspects and victims to scenes. Along with that, we've started to learn evidence parts like fingerprints and other kinds of prints that can be found on your feet, tongue, and hands, hair, and fibers. And soon later into the school year, we will be learning things like drugs, toxicology, trace evidence, soil and glass analysis, blood, DNA, and human remains in and of themselves. And specifically today, we will be working on fingerprints.
All right, so there's 3 basic types of fingerprint patterns. There's the arch, which is the first part of the picture. It's the only fingerprint pattern where there's no delta. It just goes in from one side to the other. And then there's the loop and the whorl. The loop is the most common fingerprint that people find on their body, followed by the whorl and then the arch. The difference between the loop and the whorl is the whorl has 2 deltas while the loop only has 1. And you can see the arrow pointing to the deltas. It's the triangular shapes. So there's many different types of ways to collect fingerprints. There's fingerprints that are visual, that would come off of like blood, dirt, but today we're focusing on latent fingerprints. There's many different types of ways to develop these latent prints, but today we're going to show you dusting. It's the most common way, and it's easiest to do on paper and hard surfaces. So we're going to demonstrate that.
So first what you do is, as latent prints are known to be, you can't see them unless you have some sort of substance sticking to them due to the sebaceous pores and fluids that are found in your fingers naturally, especially when, let's say, you're a nervous criminal and you're sweating. So, alright. So first we're just going to push our hands on here just to make sure that our, for lack of a better term, oils are on the table. Next, we'd use this black powder dust. Since this is a white surface, it would be best to contrast the colors. And while we're dusting on there, we want to make sure that we're not putting way too much on there, or we will cause smearing, and it will just make a mess of everything, when really we just want to get those prints. So as she's doing that, since this is a surface like this, you can imagine this is a car that's been broken into. While usually dashboards are dark, we'd use a white powder for that, but in this case, of course, we have a white table. And you can't see it here, but you're about to be, we've got some clean prints that come off of this black powder because it's sticking to those oils. Gotta blow off the extra. Then once we get those clear prints, which she's working on, you can just use tape. Sometimes in class we can use just plain office tape. Here we have masking tape. Either one works as long as it sticks. You want to make sure you don't get your own fingerprints on there. You can do this at home, honestly, with baby powder. On a black surface, baby powder, that works. So I just want to make sure that we get the entire print on there, which she's working on. Apologize for the empty period. Just put it on a white piece of paper so you can tell what's going on. And then from there, you can notice the things that make the fingerprint on one person different than everybody else. Fingerprints are like DNA, they're unique. One fingerprint is not gonna match anyone, even your identical twin. They're formed in the womb just by the nature of things. So they can identify a person to the point as long as we can get a certain amount of ridge characteristics, which are the different things in your finger that make it unique from everybody else. So as soon as we get this situated, you could probably see for yourself how each of the fingerprints are uniquely different, and we'll tie her, unfortunately, to our crime scene. Good. Do we want to bring this around? Okay.
If you leave it there, we can come and take a look at it when we're done.
With me. And forensic science is a great tool for those who aren't interested in more research-based scientists, people like me who like to be hands-on and know exactly what they're doing and how it can be used, and like to go into law enforcement, corrections, judiciary, sometimes even the military. Some of those like minds like this sort of science more. Tiffany and I are about to graduate, for example, and thanks to this class in criminal justice, which we'll introduce in a moment, she wants to go into the FBI thanks to speakers like Special Agent Sullivan from the FBI evidence collections. Personally, I've already enrolled into Virginia Tech for criminology, and thanks to this class in criminal justice, as I've said, Mr. St. John and Ms. Yarborough, we can make that dream come true.
Hello, my name is Casey, and I'm with Lena tonight, and we will be telling you a little bit about our criminal justice class. So this is the first year that PHS has offered criminal justice as an elective, and many students chose it because they want to pursue a career in law enforcement. Our teacher, Mr. St. John, is a retired Newport News police officer who also teaches at the Hampton Roads Police Academy. His goal is to teach us about all aspects of criminal justice system and educate us on the different careers available within the field. A big part of our class revolves around discussions and hearing both sides to every story. Some examples of topics we've talked about are situations where police officers had to make decisions in events they weren't trained for, how detectives solve cases and protect the public, and we debated if criminals are born evil or if events in their life lead them to commit crimes. Another part of this class is having guest speakers come in and tell us about their jobs. The first guest speaker was ODU police officer Mark Hucklis. He explained to us how security officers keep students safe and what to do in emergency situations. Second was FBI agent Stacy Sullivan. She gave a hands-on demonstration on collecting fingerprints and how to start a career in the FBI. Our last guest speaker was U.S. Army retiree Rich Kilblain, who told us intense stories about his job as well as the importance of being part of a team in a military setting.
So for our first main project, which was also our project-based learning project, the class as a whole created and presented PowerPoints on whether the criminal justice system was fair. Most of us decided that no, it's not fair, and there are aspects that can be improved upon. including overcriminalization, police brutality, and miscalculated statistics. However, we also were able to research the good in the criminal justice system via our textbook, the internet, and our very own Mr. St. John himself. For our first major field trip, we went to the Hampton Roads Criminal Justice Training Academy. There we were given a tour from Perry Bartels, and he talked us through and showed us different cases from the police's perspective, based on what they would do, how they react, and how to handle certain situations. Next, we continued the debates of the pros and cons of the criminal justice system, and we gave him our opinions on how we viewed it, and he told us how the police view it. And finally, we went to Chick-fil-A to further debrief and reflect with discussion and chicken sandwiches. So in conclusion, we would like to say that the criminal justice system is not only about the police. It is also about lawyers, forensic scientists, judges, juries, the media, and even the common citizen, and many more. It's about everyone working together to make the criminal justice system and the world in general a better and safer place to live as a community. Thank you.
Thank you. That was very well done and very informative, so thank you very much. Do we have any additions or modifications to the agenda?
We do not this evening.
Thank you. And next is recognitions, and Vice Chair Sheeler will be presenting those recognition awards tonight. Dr. Parrish?
Yes, as Ms. Sheeler comes up to the front, I'd like to first start with our Volunteer of the Month, so I'd ask that Russell Forrest come forward, please. Russell Forrest is a graduate of Poquoson High School and the father of Holly, also a graduate of PHS. Since the fall of 2005, when his daughter was a freshman, Mr. Forrest has devoted countless efforts to support the Poquoson High School band program, serving as a member of the PHS Band Boosters and as the person responsible for pulling the band trailer. Known for his work ethic, positive teamwork attitude, and leadership, he consistently demonstrates that he is a go-to person to get things done. For 15 years, including the last 10 years after his daughter Harley graduated, Mr. Forrest has pulled the band trailer, making sure that all of the band's equipment makes it to every performance. Not only has Mr. Forrest been able to go to every football game and competition locally, he has also driven to Cleveland, Pigeon Forge, Charlotte, Atlanta, Myrtle Beach over multiple years, and Orlando multiple times. He has also assisted with equipment for our show choir, as well as moving chairs for both graduation and All Virginia Band. The word no just does not seem to be a part of Mr. Forrest's vocabulary. He is very often accompanied on band trips by his co-pilot, wife, and his high school sweetheart, Teresa, also a graduate of Poquoson High School. Poquoson High School appreciates all that Mr. Forrest does to support our students, and we are thrilled to recognize him as a January 2020 Volunteer of the Month. And I have to say, I see Mr. Forrest at all those football games with that trailer, and we really do appreciate what you continue to do for our band program and other programs at the high school. Please join me in congratulating him on being recognized as the Volunteer of the Month. Absolutely. Although I will say Mr. Forrest doesn't live far from me, and there was talk of the band trailer getting parked in my yard, so it could happen at some point. Mr. Sproul would be the one to talk to you about that. Now what I'd like to do is recognize the Senior of the Month. So if Jordan Jones would please come forward. She is a member of multiple honor societies at PHS, including Mu Alpha Theta, National Science Honor Society, Spanish Honor Society, Tri-M Music Honor Society, and National Honor Society. She has taken on leadership roles as president of Key Club, president of Student Council Association, NHS secretary, and student-to-student event coordinator. Jordan was a member of the PH varsity volleyball team. She dances both with a local dance company and the PHS show choir, Evolution, and she also acts in PHS musicals. She is a 3-time district chorus member. She's an AP scholar with distinction and works hard to maintain her 4.26 GPA. Jordan was the 2019 recipient of the William & Mary Leadership Award. She attended both Girls State and Hugh O'Brien Youth Convention, where she discovered her love of language and international relations. Outside of school, she's a proud employee of Beans Ice Cream. She hopes to attend UVA and double major in Spanish and Global Studies. Please congratulate Jordan Jones as a January Student of the Month. Congratulations. Now we'd like to recognize our varsity volleyball players, so I'm going to ask you to come forward as your name is called, and we will keep you up here for a couple of minutes. First, Deva Hedrick. Hannah Hibbs. Gordon Jones. Sorry. Logan Mordecai. Braylon Wise. Lauren Hagan. Sarah Steffen. Jamie Steigerwald. Samantha Topping. Samantha Chapman. Stephanie Freeman. Lexi Sava. Tyra Weems. Sophie Young. And I'd ask that our coaches, Mr. Tim Haddock and Ms. Hannah Mick, come forward. So let me just read a little bit about them and recognize a few other students. The 2019-2020 Poquoson varsity volleyball team finished the season with a record of 16-8 after winning 5 playoff matches in a row. They were this Class 2 Section A regional champions and the Class 2 state runner-up. Congratulations to the following ladies for being selected on either the all-region team, all-state team, or both. For the all-region team, Player of the Year was Logan Mordecai. First team, Hannah Hibbs. First team, Chloe Dupuy. Second team, Deva Hedrick. Second team, Stephanie Freeman. Honorable mention to Tyra Weems. For the all-state team, we had first team Logan Mordecai. First team Hannah Hibbs. Second team Chloe Dupuy. And I also have to announce, and we do have another plaque to distribute. For the first time in school history, we are pleased to announce that Logan Mordecai was named the State Player of the Year for our division. The Lady Islanders are losing 5 seniors for next season: Deva Hedrick, Hannah Hibbs, Jordan Jones, Logan Mordecai, and Braylon Wise. We will still have a nice core of underclassmen returning to build on the success the senior class has established. Again, please join me in congratulating our volleyball players and coaches for being second in the state this year in Class 2 volleyball. before we stop, let's just make sure everybody got pictures before they move. Got them? You're welcome.
Thank you all. This time, we'll take a short intermission. Next, we have presentations and reports, and up first, Mr. Schmidt with WHRO.
Chairman Carter, members of the board, Dr. Parrish, thank you for allowing me to speak with you tonight. My name is Bert Schmidt. I'm the president and CEO of WHRO. With me is Elmer Seward, my Vice President of Education Services, and also a proud parent of a Poquoson student. I gotta make sure we get that in today. I'm here to talk to you about the station that you are one of the owners of. I've provided you, I think you all have hard copies of the impact statement. This is for the last school year. But just to give a quick summary of your investment in the station and the services you receive. So I start on page 1. You see the leadership from the division. I think you know you've got a rock star in Dr. Parrish. I don't say that just because I don't say this at every meeting, but she has been the longest tenured superintendent in all the 21 divisions. So she is a thought leader when we talk strategically. She's also on my governing board, so we put her really to work at WHRO, and I appreciate that. She's come up with lots of great ideas. Lots of things that you'll see in this report are a result of her suggestions. So Dr. Parrish, I want to thank you for everything you've done. I also want to mention also in all leadership here, Brandon Ratliff, who I think is hiding back there, but he's been very involved with the station for many, many years. Page 2, our educator resources. We provide to the entire Commonwealth what's called eMedia VA. This is a digital repository of content. We have over 163,000 digital assets. It could be a video, audio, game, app, lesson plan, whatever it may be. It's all correlated to Virginia Standards of Learning, and it is all free to your teachers, to your students, to their parents. We have over 125,000 users, and we have a contract with the Department of Education to make sure that this is free to everybody in the state. We do offer trainings for eMedia VA, and we have them all around the state. We provided 23 classes, if you will, last year. And we also, and I see you had some class here in Poquoson last year as well. We also do special topic forums at the station. Folks from Apple or Microsoft or many technology organizations come. We do some professional development for teachers around the region, all at WHRO. We provide professional development for your teachers in a service called Teacher Line. It can be graduate credit or recertification. We have a relationship with JMU to provide graduate credit or simply recertification for your teachers. It's an online service with about 50 or I guess it's now 80 courses we have available online for your teachers. And finally, we have a service called Skills Online, which is workforce development courses. We have over 1,000 courses in 12 different industry sectors. We have workplace readiness modules. We even have an online GED program there available to all the divisions. Page 4, which is a big area that we really focus on, are the online courses we develop for you. Think of us as the manufacturer. We have made for you, you can see the list of courses here. We make them, we deliver them to you, and you can use them however you want. It can be fully at home, it can be a flip model, it can be however you decide to use the online elements of these courses. You can see we have provided to you algebra, trig, astronomy, biology, chemistry, digital citizenship, thank you, Dr. Parrish, earth science, economics and personal finance, English 9, 10, 11, and 12, French, geometry, health and PE 9 and 10, math analysis, oceanography. There's an online teaching methodology course, physics, psychology, Virginia U.S. history, Virginia and U.S. government, world geography, and both world history and geography courses. We also developed for the Department of Education a middle school career investigations course. Thank you again, Dr. Parrish, for pushing that initiative to the DOE. So, and then you can see all the courses that we modified in the past year. I'd also note on page 5, we now create video courses as well, where we take what would be literally every class of a course, and we've got 3 right now in algebra, geometry, and earth science. We take a master teacher, put him in front of a camera, maybe with a whiteboard or a lab setting, and literally every class of the school year is put together and available through eMedia VA. So if a child's out for whatever reason, whether you've got a snow day or a suspension issue or whatever it may be, the student that doesn't have to fall behind, the teacher can provide a link to that day's class. They can watch that class and keep up. So we've got 3. We're hoping to develop more in the upcoming year or so. We also operate the state's Virtual Virginia program. You may be familiar with this. This is Advanced Placement and World Language Program. In the region, there are 3,900 students that took Virtual Virginia courses. There were a lot here in Poquoson. 538 students last year took a course through Virtual Virginia. We've been operating that program since its inception about 12 years ago. Page 6, we love to celebrate smart kids, and we want to celebrate your smart kids as well. We have a number of ways to do that. First off, we have our PBS Kids Writers Contest coming up this May. It's elementary school kids. They write a story, illustrate a story, submit that, they get judged. The winners, we have a contest, and we actually create videos around those stories that the children have made. The Spelling Bee is coming up, 13th year, with the Virginia, I gotta say, it's not Virginia Pilot anymore, it's Virginia Media, the newspapers. The Bee will be on the 15th. Last year you had your middle school participate. Hopefully, I'm not sure if they're doing it again this year. That's great. A little different this year. It won't be broadcast live. That's a rule of scripts. I can talk to you offline if you want to know what that's all about. But we're going to produce the Bee on the 15th, so your students will be at the station that day. It'll air on the 29th. So when your student wins the Bee, you can watch it on the 29th. The Great Computer Challenge, we've been doing for well over 30 years now. Some of you may have been involved in the Great Computer Challenge over the years. We have a senior division, which is high school and middle school. Then we have a junior division for elementary. The senior division is going to be in March, the junior division in May. You can see in this report on page 7 how well your students did last year in the Great Computer Challenge. We do lots in the world of video. We've created, you may recall, not everybody, but some of us of age will recall Schoolhouse Rock videos. Some may not, but, sorry. But for some of us at a certain age with a certain color hair, you recall those Schoolhouse Rock. We've done that both in the world of health and the environment. They are short, few minute long, animated segments to teach health and environmental lessons. We work with local musicians. We have our animators on staff. We make them available to you to use however you want. Many schools are using those as part of the morning announcements. They can be available through social media, et cetera. And we've had a series for a while now called Education Now Spots, where we take the superintendent, we come to the division, and we highlight the best of the division. And Dr. Parrish is on my air a lot. She is a star. The most recent spot is talking about how you've adopted veterans to work in your project-based learning scenario. So it's a nice situation because now people from around the region can see what's going on in Poquoson, and we can learn from each other about best practices. On page 8, we do a lot in the world of environmental education. I'm not going to get into those details, but you can see on item 10, there's a whole list of things. We received a large gift from a local philanthropist, and we're doing a lot in the world of environmental education. And finally, page 9, 10, and 11, and the division is not using these, but I just want to make sure you're aware of them. We do a lot in the early childhood education space. And we have STEM vans, literacy vans. We'll soon have an environmental van. We have reading camps and coding camps, reading buddy programs, library corners, super reader schools, anytime as learning programs, even first book. It doesn't cost you any more. You pick up the phone, call our folks. We're happy to come up and work with the pre-K or maybe up to maybe second or third grade students for all these wonderful services that we provide at no extra charge. And speaking of charge, on page 12, as board members, you care about the bottom line. You invest $2 per student last year with WHRO. You can see the amount there add up to over $7,000. And last year you received savings in value of $1,663,000. We think that's a fairly good ROI. So. With that, I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
Very impressive. It's very impressive.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks.
Appreciate you coming out. Next is our financial update with Ms. Woodruff.
Good evening, Chairman Carter, members of the school board, and Dr. Parrish. For the finance report this evening, I want to update you on the revised calculation tool received from the Department of Education for fiscal year 20. Once this calculation tool is received, staff updates the average daily membership based on the most recent enrollment data. The FY20 budget was based on 2,136 students. Based on the most recent enrollment data, we estimate that our final ADM will be 2,118, or 18 less students. This is still an increase over last year, Our final ADM last year was 2,115, so it's an increase of 3 students. The state updated the most current forecast for sales tax collections, so they increased our projection for this revenue. However, we are still estimating that we would receive about 58,000 less than budgeted. However, this figure may change once we receive the final March ADM. Dr. Parrish will be presenting an FY21 budget update to the board at the work session immediately following this meeting. And that concludes my report.
Next is Operations and PMS Modernization Project Update with Mr. Pappas.
Good evening, School Board, Chairman Carter, Dr. Parrish. This month's operation report focuses on a couple of areas. One is transportation. We're having our second in-service this coming week, where we will be focusing on safety issues, reviewing some situations that we always want to have our bus drivers be mindful of. And we will be continuing with the help of Student Services to provide our drivers with tools by which they can manage student behavior using the same modalities, that they are using within the school division. So there's consistency across both the transportation and the schools. Over the break, the custodial staff did a wonderful job, and additionally, I'm sure everybody's happy to hear that all of the buses and the classrooms were disinfected, which will help thwart the spread of any contagious bugs out there. Relative to modernization, the first of the portable classrooms was brought to Poquoson Elementary today and put together. It'll take up to 3 months before all 18 trailers are positioned exactly where they need to be and set up. And that'd be 18 there and then 2 additional at the high school. The timing is dependent on the weather and wind, frankly, because they're coming over bridges in some case. It's important to remember that we actually received these buses at no cost from other school divisions, and we thank them for that. After all of this occurs, wooden walkways will be built so that the classrooms are all connected and students will not have to walk through any mud or dirt. And we anticipate all of this being completed well before school opens in September. That concludes my report.
Questions there, comments? Sir. And next, instructional update with Dr. Fox.
Good evening, Chairman Carter, Vice Chair Sheeler, board members, and Dr. Parrish. My update for you this evening will be an overview of our program of studies changes, which you'll be voting on later this evening, and I'll share some important events and meeting dates with you. As you recall, our program of studies process begins in September when faculty and staff can submit changes or updates that they would like to see. Our committee, which is composed of the high school and middle school counseling directors, our high school and middle school principals, our STEM and PBL grant staff, and school board office staff then meet to review all of those recommendations. We shared at our work session in December, we shared those proposed changes with you, and as I stated earlier, you're going to be voting on that tonight. Just as a reminder, so here are some of the changes and the additions to the 2020-21 program of studies. At the high school level, we're going to add Earth Science 2 Oceanography, which will be a dual enrollment course. We're going to add Criminal Justice 2, which is very fitting given your presentation tonight. Students will be able to take the second level of that course. We're going to add a capstone experience as a graduation requirement, and that will be with freshmen who enter high school for the first time next year, so that's the class of 2024. And we're also going to add that dual enrollment courses will receive a weighted credit, again, beginning with next year's freshman class. You'll notice that we did pull from our recommendations the African American Studies course that we had initially recommended. Through ongoing conversations with staff from WHRO and from the Virginia Department of Ed, there are details regarding the course that are unknown at this time, and they preclude us from moving forward. We will bring this back for consideration next year once we have additional information. At the middle school level, you'll see just a couple of changes. Art 8 instead of being a semester course, will now become a year-long course. The same thing is true for tech systems, which is offered in the 8th grade. It'll become a year-long course. Our Forensic Science 1 and 2 will be combined into one course. That'll be a year-long. And the same thing for Introduction to Coding and Programming 1 and 2 will be combined into one course, which will be offered all year for students. As far as next steps go for the program of studies, once it's approved tonight, hopefully, we will post it on our webpage for students and parents to view. Print copies will be available in our counseling offices in the next few weeks. In February, course registrations begin with students currently in grades 5 through 11, and in April, the middle and the high school staff will begin developing their master schedules in preparation for next school year. And related to the registration process, we wanted to share a couple of meeting dates with our audience tonight. Rising 6th grade parent meeting night is going to be Thursday, February 20th, 6 o'clock at the auditorium at the middle school. And our Rising Freshman Parent Information Night will be Wednesday, February 5th, also at 6 o'clock in the forum at the high school. And lastly, tonight I wanted to share the date for our secondary career fair, which will take place on Tuesday, February the 6th at Poquoson High School. Students in grades 8 through 12 will meet a variety of career representatives to ask questions and gather career information. We're very excited about this event and thank all of those who are supporting our students by participating. This concludes my report this evening.
Comments there? Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Dr. Fox. And do we have any public comment tonight? Thank you. And Ms. Sheila, will you walk us through the consent agenda, please?
Yes, the consent agenda includes the approval of financial reports, the approval of personnel action, the authorization to change appropriation and to accept and expend in accordance with the request, approval of minutes of the December regular meeting and the work session, and the authorization to dispose of surplus property.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Ms. Reimers, could you call for a vote, please?
Mr. Holcomb?
Aye.
Ms. Hessel?
Aye.
Mr. Jordan?
Aye.
Mr. Freeman?
Aye.
Vice Chair Sheila?
Aye.
Chairman Carter?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Other matters for consideration. Up first, consideration of approval of the 2020-21 Secondary Program of Studies. Dr. Parrish?
Yes, I think that Dr. Fox did a nice job of summarizing changes that we're presenting to you this evening that we did talk about in your work session on December. So with that said, I'd recommend approval of the program of study changes as presented this evening.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
And a second?
Second.
Any questions, comments there? Reimers?
Mr. Holcomb?
Aye.
Ms. Hessel?
Aye.
Mr. Jordan?
Aye.
Mr. Freeman?
Aye.
Vice Chair Sheila?
Aye.
Chairman Carter?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
And next, consideration of approval of change to the 2021 through 2025 capital. Dr. Parrish?
Yes, I've had some conversation with board members, and we did at our work session have last month have a presentation from a company called Sun Tribe that does solar work with school divisions throughout the state. We were and are going to continue to pursue working with them because they may be able to assist us in doing our actual roof recovery work. But we can't move forward with them at this time because in order to have a power purchase agreement, the General Assembly needs to lift the limit on the number of power purchase agreements that can be done based on the wattage that can be used through solar energy. So we are waiting for the General Assembly to do their work this spring. But in the meantime, we need to move forward with the middle school project. And in working with the architects, what we really have come to see is we've got to push some more funding into that middle school project. Our work with the solar company will certainly help us in that area. But for now, what I've brought to you is a proposal this evening to move additional money over to the middle school project. And as you see here, this is how I'm proposing to you this evening that we do that. The total cost for the primary school roof is $787,300. There is part of the roof that is actually a metal roof, and that the cost for replacement of that would be $200,000. What I'm proposing here is that we hold off on doing the metal portion of that roof project. So that means the cost to recover the primary school roof will be $587,300. So I'm recommending that we can move forward with that work and get that roof work done as part of the current CIP. Next item you see here is the total cost of the high school roof, which is over $1 million to do the recovery or recovering that roof. I'm recommending to you this evening that we move that $1 million that would go to the high school roof over to the middle school project, along with the $200,000 that we would use for the metal roof on the primary school roof, which does have a longer period of life. And then also move the $341,000 that are still available for bus replacement into the middle school project. So I'm recommending this evening that we move just over $1.5 million over to the middle school project. If the General Assembly lifts the limit for power purchase agreements, then some of that funding that we'll be able to receive through the work with a solar company may actually enable us to move money back into the CIP, so we could then recapture those bus replacements, also then part of the metal roof replacement as well. What this does mean, if we don't see any additional funding that we can use when we work with the solar company, that we will need to put the high school roof back on the CIP again. So in other words, we'll have to go to City Council, put it as an item on the CIP to be funded at a later date. I did present this information to the city manager, and he did support it as I'm bringing it to you this evening, and knows that it may be that if we cannot work with the solar company, that may appear back on the CIP for approval. So that information is being given to him. If you do approve this change tonight, I'm going to go to the City Council work session on Monday because they're talking about the CIP to talk about the changes that you will have approved, and also will speak before the public hearing on the CIP at their regular meeting on Monday. Realize that when they borrowed the money for you, they granted you the right to shift that money as you wanted to. So if you wanted to shift more into the middle school project, you could do that, which is why you're not going to City Council prior to this meeting for approval to do that. But we would like to inform changes that we're recommending and why we are doing that. So if we go to the next slide, this is what that means the CIP document will actually look like. So it looks a little bit different than it did. So you'll see here that sitting on the CIP is still over $587,000 to do the roof resurfacing on the primary school, but then you can see where we've moved that additional money over to the middle school project. So that it does include some of those monies that we already moved. We had some of that end of year money available to us, and then also some other funds that we we were able to shift over to it because what we did when we had the roof company look at the roofs this fall and realized that we could drop the cost of the roof down because we can do recovering of that roof. That's why you see $2.2 million now being shifted to the middle school project. So we're adding that to the $17 million that was already on the project. So we're at over $19 million now, which will give us capability to do more of the things that we'd like to do with that middle school project long term. So this is what I'm bringing to you. Again, note that the bus replacement now is off for the next 2 years, but then would reappear in future years as always existed on the CIP. So with that, what I am recommending tonight are the approval of the changes to the CIP as I presented to you this evening.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And the second?
Second.
Discussions, questions there?
Just to make sure, we're going to move this 1.5 to the middle school project. And then if the state ups the cap with Sunshine Solar, we'll get that 1.5 from them for the high school.
Well, we're hoping if the state lifts the cap on solar, then we know we can do a power purchase agreement with them. So with that, we know we would see savings. Then what we would hope is that we may be able to move forward with the plan of having them, through the power purchase agreement, cover the cost of the roof resurfacing at the high school. There is always the chance that that agreement can't come to fruition. If not, then it will need to be moved on to the CIP again for approval by City Council again.
So we'd have to vote again to move the money back?
Yes, yes, exactly. You all would have to approve that going back on your CIP, and then it would go back through the Planning Commission and then through City Council as well.
congratulations for a lot,
Thank you.
a whole lot of work.
And we just want to reassure the community that we are, want to do everything to make this renovation of the middle school really good one for us that will last for years to come. So that's why we're bringing it forward to you tonight.
All right, anybody else? Okay, Ms. Reimer?
Mr. Holcomb?
Aye.
Ms. Hessel?
Aye.
Mr. Jordan?
Aye.
Mr. Freeman?
Aye.
Vice Chair Sheeler?
Aye.
Chairman Carter?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. And last for other matters is consideration of approval of proclamations of National School Counselors Week and School Principal Education Week. For School Counseling Week, school counselors are employed by schools to help students reach their full potential. They are actively committed to helping students explore their abilities, strengths, interests, and talents as these traits relate to career awareness and development. They work to identify community resources that can enhance and complement comprehensive school counseling programs and help students become productive members of society. And for School Principals Appreciation Week, this one sheet can't hold it all, but they obviously work cooperatively to direct, develop, and inspire all members of the school staff and student body and to communicate effectively with parents to engage the learning process. They serve as educational leaders. They're responsible for managing policies, regulations, and procedures necessary to ensure a safe and effective learning environment for all students in Poquoson City Public Schools. This is simply an opportunity to recognize their hard work and to recognize the importance of principals in ensuring that every child has access to a quality education. So with that said, do I have a motion to approve? And a second?
Second.
Any discussion, questions, comments there? Thank you to all the counselors and principals. Work is greatly appreciated. Ms. Reimers, could you call for a vote, please?
Mr. Holcomb?
Aye.
Ms. Hessel?
Aye.
Mr. Jordan?
Aye.
Aye.
Vice Chair Sheeler?
Aye.
Chairman Carter?
Aye.
Motion passes 6.
And communication, Dr. Parrish, kicks off, please.
Yes, just a reminder that starting tomorrow through the end of the week, they are early release days for us, and our students taking high school credit courses will be busy taking exams the next few days. On Monday, we do have schools will be closed because it's a regional professional development day, so we are actually bringing somebody in to work with all of our teachers for the first half of the day on Monday, and then he will travel to each of the schools. So we're excited about that opportunity, and knock on wood, so glad snow has not interrupted that day off. Also, just as a precursor to my presentation in the work session about budget, it is going to be another challenging year despite some of the news that's been coming out of Richmond. I will give you that presentation this evening, and then I will narrate the PowerPoint and get it up on the website and sent to all of our schools so that everybody has the opportunity to hear my presentation, which is going to be based on the governor's budget that he put out in December. Excited we are about the middle school project, so seeing the first portable classroom roll into the elementary school field today was pretty exciting. And we have a big meeting with the architects on Thursday, so which is important for that meeting, and Mrs. Sheeler will be there representing the board at that meeting with the architects on Thursday. So we're looking forward to getting some hard work done and moving forward in the design process. And I just want to continue to thank members of our community for their involvement in the schools. We saw examples of that today with the work that we do with WHRO. We have Tammy Edwards sitting in the audience, our military school liaison, so we appreciate all that she does for us. And I just wanted to let you know at the most recent PEF meeting, because of the hard work they've done in fundraising, they actually have raised the amount of money that teachers can apply for grants. So for classroom grants, instead of just applying for up to $500, they can apply for up to $1,000. And for innovative grants that can be in the classroom or school-wide, they've bumped that up to $5,000. So thanks to the community who supports PEF, but for our PEF board of directors who work so hard to raise that money, that really will make a difference. And I know we had some very excited folks when I emailed out the changes in the total dollars they could apply for. And that's my report for this evening.
And Jamie.
Poquoson Primary School has started off the new year off on the right foot. Our teachers spent the first week back from winter break reviewing routines and procedures with our students and worked on class community building. We are in the middle of our mid-year assessments and look forward to seeing students' growth from their hard work this year so far. Our preschool team welcomes parents of preschool-age students to attend our IPOP preschool open house on Thursday, January 30th at 6 p.m. in the primary school library. Parents will learn about our preschool program and receive preschool applications for the 2020-2021 school year. Kindergarten registration for the 2020-2021 school year kicks off February 5th. Kindergarten registration information is available on our website. Registration begins online this year, and parents are encouraged to complete registration before coming into school and provide registration documents. Call Poquoson Primary with any questions. Poquoson Elementary School. In December, the third graders at PES once again participated in market day activities where the students had time to create products and had them for sale for each other and the staff. There was plenty of money to go around and students enjoyed purchasing handmade products from each other. The fifth graders now begin talking about their next year at PMS. They attended a music concert at the middle school last week and will soon be talking about scheduling courses for next year. The first portable classroom has arrived at PES today, and we were all very excited to watch its arrival. 2 halves arrived, and soon it was a whole classroom. We are looking forward to see all of the adventures to come next year. Poquoson Middle School. PMS is gearing up for a busy month ahead. We will be conducting parent information nights during the month of February. Topics covered during these events will include course information, the registration process, and preparing students for high school and beyond. Our 8th grade students are also being prepared to participate in the career fair at PHS on February 5th. The career fair will allow students to interact with individuals from numerous professions and help them target with which career cluster they currently are interested in the most. This information will be utilized during the academic and career plan meetings with school counselors during the second semester. In preparation for the career fair, all 8th grade students are currently participating in classroom counseling lessons where they are practicing communication skills and professional etiquette. All 3 grades are eagerly anticipating the Battle of the Classes event, which will take place on February 10th through February 13th. This is an annual event that all students in the school can participate in to help their grade level accumulate points. There's a accumulating competition on February 13th where one grade level will be named the winner based on total points earned. We hope to see you there. Poquoson High School. As we start 2020, the PHS Islanders continue to be hard at work. PHS students who will participate in this Tidewater Regional Science Fair engaged in a PHS Science Expo, which allowed them to share their products with the faculty and staff to receive real-world feedback to help them revise prior to the regional event. Students in digital marketing are busy developing a video highlighting elective course options, which will be shared with students 8 through 12 in preparation for course registration. Enriching experiences are continuing throughout the buildings. Our students are delivering DNA models, engaging in literature circles, exploring economic geography, and much more. Outside of the classroom, our students are met with success in all district band auditions at the district DECA competition, at Scholastic Bowl and forensics competitions, and through all athletic contests. As the first semester concludes, students are wished much success on their first semester exams, which will continue throughout this week. We are finishing the first semester strong, and we look forward to see what the second semester has in store. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Holcomb.
Just one thing, Mr. Chairman. I think we should look into changing the graduation requirements for some of these women's volleyball players for next year because it's just a tremendous job. That gave us a lot of visibility across the state and just a tremendous year. I heard their record for the first time tonight, so they weren't, something in O. So they really worked hard this year, gelled at the right time, and did it right. So I really appreciate their effort this year. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Ms. Helms?
Great job, Jamie. Good report. Thank you. And just good luck to all of the high schoolers and middle schoolers with study hard and make us proud.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan.
Happy New Year to everyone. It's hard to believe that we're already starting to plan for middle school and freshman orientation coming up, but it'll certainly be here before we know it. I also thoroughly enjoyed the student presentations in regards to the criminal justice class and the forensic science class. I guess because of my age, they certainly weren't offered back in the day. So, but very interesting classes, and it's great. I think our forensic science teacher, who was a former member of the force, so it's a great way to have that hands-on experience to give back to our students. So, and Miss Yarborough as well. So, great job by those students as well.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman.
I'd just like to congratulate the volleyball team on an incredible season.
Thank you.
And I'd just like to say, I was very pleased to see the dual enrollment in the oceanography, because that's just going to be a tremendous benefit to
I was just looking through the board packet and saw that we had some, we always have so many people that contribute to our school system, but I was I really wanted to thank Victory Church Missions, who provided $2,500 to our students and our families before the end of last year. I thought that was just out of the blue, a really generous and kind thing. And then one other comment, when BB&T merged with SunTrust to form Truist Financial Services, I never realized that they were going to take our Michael Troutman. So I want to just say, I really want to complain about that. Michael Troutman was always generous with praise for our teachers and our staff, and very financially astute, and gave us insights into our modernization project that I really appreciate. Great sense of humor, and made everyone feel valuable, and we will miss him.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, he will be missed. So luck on exams, and hats off to the criminal justice and forensic science teachers. Obviously, the kids love those courses, and it's just refreshing to see kids excited and engaged in their coursework. So hats off to you there. Any material for board review?
We have none this evening.
With that, we will adjourn to our work session.
Dr. Parrish, did you get those handouts that were laying right here?